Madison Carter storms into Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom, every step dripping with entitlement. Her designer heels click against marble as if announcing her power, her phone glued to her manicured hand, scrolling social media without a care. But today, the courtroom will prove no amount of money can buy respect or mercy. From the outside, Madison's life looks perfect. Luxury cars, high-end shopping sprees, a social media following that worships every outfit she wears. But behind the glitz and gold-plated credit cards lies a streak of cruelty that has left her classmates, neighbors, and even employees shaken. She's never faced consequences, never been told no. And now, standing in front of Judge Frank Caprio, the full weight of reality is about to hit. What happens when privilege meets justice? Can entitlement survive in a courtroom where fairness is the only law? Today, the story of a young woman's temper, a broken promise, and a courtroom that refuses to bend begins. Madison Carter strides into the courtroom like the world revolves around her. Every designer stitch, every diamond glint, screams untouchable confidence. 19 years old, yet she acts like she's ruled the world for decades. She slams her Prada handbag onto the bench, flicks her perfectly styled blonde hair, and throws a glance around the room that seems to say, "You're lucky I'm even here." Her opponent today is a simple grocery store employee, a man who worked double shifts to support his young daughter, yet here he is, forced to stand against Madison's fury. She's been accused of a prank that went too far, destroying property, spreading lies, and embarrassing him in front of his coworkers. The first words she speaks are cutting, dripping with disdain. "I can't believe he actually brought me here. This is ridiculous." Her tone is sharp, practiced, weaponized. The courtroom feels the sting of her words. But Judge Caprio doesn't flinch. He doesn't react to the theatrics. Instead, his eyes fix on Madison, calm, patient, unshakable. The audience holds its breath as the first clash begins. Madison's lawyer fumbles to explain her actions, but Madison interrupts. "No, that's not what happened. Let me tell them myself." Her voice carries across the room, confident, brash, defiant. She recounts the story, omitting accountability, exaggerating her victimhood, painting herself as a misunderstood genius wronged by a bitter employee. Her words slice through the air like glass. She mocks him subtly, referencing his worn work shoes, the faded jacket he wore to testify, his nervous tone. Every insult lands like a hammer, and the room shivers with a mixture of shock and anger. People whisper, unsure if they should intervene or simply watch the spectacle unfold. But just when it seems Madison has the courtroom under her spell, a hush falls over the room. Judge Caprio leans forward, his tone measured but piercing. "Madison, you seem confident in your version of events. Let's hear from the other side before you decide the truth for us." The words land like a cold wave. Madison freezes for a fraction of a second, the first crack in her perfect facade. How could this man, this simple figure in robes, challenge her authority? Her eyes narrow, jaw tightens, and for a brief moment the air changes. The spoiled girl who thought she was untouchable faces the first taste of real accountability. Has Madison ever faced anyone who didn't bend under her will? The tension builds as witnesses shuffle forward. The grocery store employee, quiet at first, begins to explain what happened, voice steady despite the intimidation. Madison scoffs, rolling her eyes, muttering under her breath, convinced she can charm, manipulate, and intimidate her way out of this. But what happened next left the entire courtroom speechless. The courtroom still buzzes from Madison's entrance, but now the focus shifts. Judge Caprio's calm authority begins to steer the room toward the truth. The grocery store employee steps forward again, holding a small folder of evidence that he's been too nervous to display earlier. His hands tremble slightly, but his voice is unwavering. "Your Honor, I've kept receipts, emails, and even surveillance clips of what happened that day. I'd like to present them." Madison's eyes widen, her perfectly sculpted brow arching with disbelief. She hadn't expected proof. Proof requires accountability, and accountability is something she's never faced. The courtroom leans in as Judge Caprio nods. "Proceed," he says simply. First comes a set of receipts, damage costs, replacement items, extra labor. Each one tallies higher than Madison had imagined. She shifts in her seat, glancing at her phone, as if hoping for a distraction, a text, anything to save her. None comes. Then a short video clip plays, subtle but damning. It shows Madison at the store smirking as she bumps into shelves, spilling items, knocking over displays, laughing as employees scramble to clean the mess. The laughter, the arrogance, the complete lack of concern for anyone else, it all hits harder in a courtroom than any text could convey. Madison fidgets, clutching her Prada handbag like it's a shield. "That's not what it looks like," she begins, voice sharp, rehearsed, defensive. "I was just, adjusting the display." Judge Caprio raises a finger, silent, commanding. No interruptions. The employee continues, producing an email chain in which Madison dismissed complaints with sarcasm and threats. The language is vicious, entitled, leaving no room for interpretation. "I don't have time for your nonsense," one line reads. "Maybe next time, think before bothering me. Can someone so young wield so much cruelty and remain untouched by consequences?" The courtroom murmurs, the energy shifting. Even Madison's lawyer looks uneasy, realizing the story of entitlement is unraveling. Madison tries to maintain composure, but her voice shakes now, betraying panic. I didn't mean for any of this to happen," she stammers. Her confident act begins to crack. Judge Caprio leans forward. "Intent matters, Madison, but so does responsibility. What do you think happens when you refuse to acknowledge the impact of your actions?" The employee adds testimony about how the damage affected him personally: missed work, stress, fear of losing his job, and the humiliation he endured. His words resonate beyond the courtroom walls, echoing in every listener's mind. Every detail chips away at Madison's shield of privilege. Like this video if you think accountability should never be optional. Finally, Judge Caprio asks Madison a direct question. "Do you understand the consequences of your actions now?" Madison falters. The rehearsed arrogance is gone. There's panic, defensiveness, a fleeting hint of self-reflection. She opens her mouth, but no words seem adequate. The room holds its breath, sensing a dramatic shift. And just when Madison thinks she might escape unscathed, Judge Caprio pulls a card that no one expected. Madison sits frozen, her perfect posture crumbling as Judge Caprio's eyes lock onto hers. The courtroom feels heavier now, charged with anticipation. The grocery store employee steps forward. Again, this time sharing the personal toll the incident has taken. His voice trembles slightly, but there is no malice, only pain and honesty. "I've worked here for 10 years, he says quietly. "I've never felt so powerless. That day, I was humiliated in front of my coworkers. My daughter had to hear me cry over the phone, and it was all because of her actions." The courtroom goes silent. Madison swallows hard, her manicured hands clutching her designer bag as if holding onto it could shield her from the truth. Her phone buzzes, but she ignores it. Nothing in the digital world can save her now. How do you face the consequences of hurting someone when you've never truly experienced loss yourself? Witnesses continue stepping forward. A coworker describes the chaos Madison caused. Another recounts the laughter at the victim's expense. Each testimony hits like a hammer, dismantling the image of the flawless, untouchable girl she has built. The audience sits in stunned silence, absorbing every word, every detail, every heartbreak. Madison tries to defend herself. "I didn't mean it like that. It was just a joke." But the words feel hollow, rehearsed, and empty. Judge Caprio doesn't interrupt, letting the weight of her denial sink into the room. Her arrogance is fading, replaced by the first glimmers of fear, guilt, and self-realization. The victim's final words pierce through the tension. "I just want to be respected like everyone else. I want my daughter to know that kindness matters, that people are responsible for their actions." His plea is simple, human, and impossible to dismiss. Madison's lips tremble as the reality sinks in. But what Judge Caprio says next will shake her to her core. Hit that subscribe button if you believe justice should always be fair. The judge leans forward, his tone firm but compassionate. "Madison, this courtroom is not here to humiliate you. It is here to teach you that every action has consequences. Do you understand what that means? Madison's eyes fill with tears, the first authentic display of vulnerability the courtroom has seen. She nods slowly, voice barely audible. I think I do, Your Honor. The room exhales collectively. The first walls of privilege, arrogance, and entitlement are crumbling. The spoilt teenager who thought the world would bend for her now faces the reality she has long ignored. Every whispered insult, every careless act, every ounce of cruelty is catching up, and she can no longer hide behind money or style. But just when everyone thinks Madison might finally learn, Judge Caprio delivers a twist that no one saw coming. The courtroom is tense. Every eye is fixed on Judge Frank Caprio, who sits poised, calm, and ready to deliver words that will echo far beyond these walls. Madison shifts in her seat, clutching her handbag like a lifeline. She knows she has no tricks left, no charm to wield. The reality of accountability is closing in. Judge Caprio clears his throat and begins. Madison, privilege can be a blessing, but it is also a responsibility. You have advantages most people only dream of: wealth, comfort, opportunity. But none of that gives you the right to disregard others' feelings, their hard work, or their dignity. Have you ever considered how your actions ripple through the lives of those around you? Do we ever pause to think about the weight our choices carry on those who have less than us? The judge continues, his voice steady, powerful, and compassionate. True strength is not in wealth, beauty, or influence. True strength is in empathy. It is in understanding the pain you may cause, even unintentionally, and it is in taking responsibility for that pain. The man standing before you is not your enemy. He is a human being deserving of respect, honesty, and fairness. And today you are being given the chance to reflect, to learn, to grow. The courtroom listens in rapt silence. Even Madison's lawyer leans forward, absorbing every word. The judge does not just lecture. He teaches. He frames consequences not as punishment, but as a tool for growth. Each phrase lands like a gentle hammer, reshaping the spoiled teenager's understanding of the world. Madison, Judge Caprio continues, life will test you in ways money cannot fix. You will encounter pain, disappointment, and failure. What matters is how you respond. Will you continue to hurt others to protect your ego, or will you rise above, acknowledge mistakes, and become someone better? That choice is yours, and it begins here, today, in this courtroom. A hush blankets the room. Madison's fingers tighten around her designer bag. Her perfectly applied makeup is streaked with tears, her phone forgotten on the bench. She nods subtly, the first authentic sign of introspection she has ever shown. Can a single moment of guidance change a person who has never faced the consequences of their actions? Judge Caprio leans back, allowing silence to sink in. The most valuable lesson you can ever learn, Madison, is humility, respect, responsibility. They are not given, they are earned. Today you are being given the chance to start earning them. The audience exhales. A profound stillness fills the room as Madison contemplates the weight of his words. There is no mockery, no judgment beyond the truth, only clarity, fairness, and the undeniable wisdom of a man who has seen countless lives transformed by accountability and compassion. Madison finally looks up, ready to respond, but what she says next leaves everyone gasping. Madison swallows hard. For the first time, she speaks not to defend herself, not to impress anyone, but from a place of genuine remorse. I never realized how much my actions hurt someone else, she admits, voice trembling. I thought it was all a joke. I thought I was untouchable. I was wrong. The courtroom is silent. Every person in the room feels the sincerity in her voice. The grocery store employee, who has endured humiliation and stress, nods slowly. He sees the change, subtle but undeniable, in the girl who once mocked him without mercy. Judge Caprio leans forward, a faint smile tugging at the corners of his lips. Madison, acknowledging your mistakes is the first step toward becoming a better person. What comes next is your choice. Will you make amends and grow? or let this moment pass without learning anything. Can one honest apology truly change the trajectory of a life filled with entitlement? Madison nods emphatically. I want to make it right. I'll pay for the damages, apologize to everyone I hurt, and I'll learn from this. I don't want to be this person anymore. Her words, once hollow, are now filled with authenticity. She has transformed before everyone's eyes. The grocery store employee smiles gently. Thank you, Madison. That means more than you can imagine. The tension in the room lifts, replaced by a sense of relief and hope. Justice has been served, but so has compassion. Judge Caprio addresses the courtroom one last time. What we witnessed today is not just a lesson for Madison, but a reminder for all of us. Accountability is not about punishment, it's about growth. Responsibility is not about fear, it's about respect. And every mistake, no matter how big, carries the potential to teach us humility, empathy, and kindness. Madison wipes tears from her eyes. She reaches out to the employee, shaking his hand sincerely, a gesture that once would have been unimaginable. The audience murmurs, moved by the raw humanity in the moment. This is no longer a courtroom drama. It is a transformation, a miracle of understanding, empathy, and redemption. As the gavel finally drops, signaling closure, one final twist leaves everyone amazed. Hit that subscribe button if you believe in second chances, in growth, and in the power of accountability. Judge Caprio rises, nods to both parties, and declares the case resolved. Madison steps forward, humble, reflective, and for the first time truly aware of the weight of her actions. The employee smiles, tears glistening, and the courtroom collectively exhales. The story spreads quickly, shared online as a viral lesson in humility and growth, inspiring viewers everywhere to reflect on their own actions. The miracle is complete, a privileged teenager humbled, a victim acknowledged, and a courtroom turned into a place of learning, compassion, and unforgettable justice. This story reminds us that no matter who we are, privilege can never replace empathy. Mistakes, no matter how big, carry lessons that shape the people we become. Madison's journey shows that accountability is not about shame, it's about growth. Judge Caprio's wisdom proves that even the smallest act of honesty, humility, or kindness can transform a life and inspire countless others. Today, a courtroom became more than a place for justice. It became a place for redemption, reflection, and hope. Like this video if you believe in second chances. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you never miss another heartwarming story. Share this story with someone who needs a reminder that empathy, honesty, and accountability can change everything. Drop a comment below if you think Madison's transformat Ion was deserved, or if you've ever learned a lesson the hard way.